Hello, everybody. If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer, and that must mean it's time for another episode of Warhammer Weekly. Joining me, as always, is my occasional co-host, Tom. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Occasional. I've been demoted to occasional. Hello, friends.
Yeah.
It is delightful to be back with you again
This
because
is the
of
first time you've been
reasons
on in a month, so
I
that's
recognize. Hey, I was supposed to do it the week of Adepticon, but Adepticon happened.
it's fine. It's fine. It's all
I could have
good.
I co-hosted from the comments.
Yeah, your mic isn't right, by the way. I
Well,
think.
why didn't we test it?
No, I just realized it now.
Oh, you're right. It's not reading my actual microphone.
Yeah, I wasn't catching it
Hmm.
because just you and I talking, and then as soon as the show started, I caught it when I actually looked at the sound levels. That's fine.
Okay. Well, that's really unfortunate because yep, it's not picking up my mic at all. Weird.
Why don't you unplug the mic and then plug it back in while I talk about what we're going to do today? Okay, so while Tom fixes his sound issues, what we're going to do today is we're going to be talking about the brand new Soulblight 2025 Battletome and whether or not it's any good. Uh, is it a change from the index? Do we actually have something new here? Should we be excited? Or should we instead abandon all hope and toss ourselves into the ocean? We'll find out. So that's going to be exciting. There you go. Tom will be back in a minute. It's all good. I don't want to invite friends or choose an activity Discord. I refuse to do either of these things. So at any rate, he'll be back in a second. So I'll just handle the news. First of all, welcome everybody. I hope you're all enjoying yourself. Hope you all had a good week. The news is really short today. Let me just say that. So we got like two things. So first off, boom. Here's a rumor engine. Okay. It's a 40k thing. That's pretty easy. Do we only get 40k rumor engines now? Are we just not going to get any Age of Sigmar miniatures for the rest of the year? That's what I'm led to believe by the current rumor engine situation. So I don't really care what this is. It's a human guy with a little radar-y thing. Fine, cute. He's got the little ping, ping, ping that finds the aliens. Okay, is what it looks like. And like, when is the last clearly AOS or even fantasy-based rumor engine? Nonsense. It's a bunch of nonsense, and I hate it. Uh, Whatever. I'm not saying 40k should get nothing. I'm just saying we should get some. Come on, what's going on here? Let's see a little more equitable distribution. The 1% have gotten too many of the rumor engines. All right. So, anyways, that's that. The other thing is obviously Soulblight is on pre-order, hence why we're doing this show right now. Now, a quick note: we don't have any points yet. I don't have them, so okay. So instead tonight, since we don't have points, we're gonna play. Tom and I are gonna play a fun game. He doesn't know that, but we're gonna play a fun game. And that fun game is called "At What Points Is This Good?" Okay. So like with some scrolls, I realize we don't need to know the points. Like we can eyeball, we can get a relatively good idea of it, but we're gonna play a game instead called "At what points is this good at, and at what points is this bad at?" And therein we'll establish the range. We'll see how right we are. Okay. So there's that. Tom's back. Let's see if his sound works.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I'm going to guess something else is now using your camera. Oh, no, there it is. Oh, you're back. Okay.
No,
Talk.
I'm back. We're good.
All right. There you go. You sound much better now. All right. So next news item. Hey, episode number 5 of Snarlcast. Uncle Adam and I's new podcast about indie games and indie game design is out now. Check it out. Link down below. Go check it out. Sub up if you haven't already. Give it a listen. Episode 5 was a little spicy one about what could actually bring down Games Workshop. Could anything ever actually do that? So that's the topic of that one. Go check it out. There's already 5 episodes for you. If you haven't listened yet, you have like 5 hours of content just waiting for you while you're painting. It's very exciting. Martin Orlando with a super chat saying you can tell the Warcom rumor engine guy only plays 40k from the kits he picks for it. Yeah, from my understanding, they do actually get to do that. They just like walk into the office. The way I've been told that this works is the marketing people just literally walk into the office of like the people who have, you know, sort of these miniatures and just go, what can I take pictures of? That's it. That's how they do it. So there you go. Last news item is Pro Acryl just recently announced their new line of AMP colors, the AMP paints for atomic mass. And so stay tuned this weekend. There may or may not be some information coming on what I think about those paints. Spoiler, I think they're pretty good. And but you can see them in detail with what I paint up. And if you were going to pick those up, hey, there's a affiliate link down there. There it is. And you can even save money. Like, you can save 5% off. So, check that out. All right. So now that we're done with news and shilling, the news and shilling section, as it is. That's it, Tom. I did your job for you. We're going to go straight to pick of the week. Literally the only reason you're here. No, that's not true. All right. So, Tom, what would you like to share with everybody in the pick of the week section?
Yeah, so I couldn't be at Adepticon.
Correct.
But I found a wonderful interview show following Adepticon that you all need to check out. Channels the Hobby Collab. And the title of the video is "What is Happening at Adepticon?" The ultimate, all caps, interview show. You will see many familiar faces on there.
Okay.
John Anderson and Paul and Scott and Doug and just so many faces of interviews. And my favorite was all of the international interviews that they were doing. So Two Thin Coats, Duncan, and Anthony, AOS Coach, all of them were taking it seriously, not the tongue-in-cheek interview that they were going for. And so it's like there's a number of just amazingly hilarious moments where they're like, where who's being interviewed, they don't understand what's happening, the satire of it all. And my favorite being John Anderson reading the room, and they asked, like, how did you come up with your list? And he responded, well, I didn't know what to do, so I used ChatGPT. So amazing. It's check it out. It's delightful.
By the way, I do think that, like, honestly and legitimately, especially with the current state of list building, that you could have most AI engines, especially the reasoning models, just build lists for you. Like they would know what to do.
Correct.
There's no reason.
Correct. Yes, like if you could clearly set priority and value, like valuation of the various aspects.
Yeah, just tell it you want it to build a tournament. Tell it you'd like to build a list that a person intending to go 5-0 at a major tournament would play. That should be enough of a prompt. Yeah.
You think that'll be enough for it to pick up on all the things that it needs?
Yeah, sure. I really do. Like if you're using like O1 or something, like a reasoning model, yeah, probably.
Yeah, but is there enough data in those systems?
Yes.
Right?
It's on the internet. So yes.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I don't know if it's as readily accessible in a like a readable format as being present.
So I asked the research model the other day for work about a pretty deep topic. Okay, pretty niche topic. It prepared a 36-page detailed research paper for me.
But how
in
accurate
10 minutes.
was it?
Quite. Incredibly so.
Okay.
And insightful. Like ridiculous. What I would have expected to pay somebody relatively out of their MBA to do. And I got it in 10 minutes. This isn't an AI show. I'm just saying, like, it's more than capable. Yeah. If it can do that, this is about a niche, high-level topic. It can write a freaking Warhammer list.
No, I understand. I'm very, very aware of what AI can do.
Yeah.
But yes.
But
it
anyways,
does some things well, is what I would say. It does not do other things well.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, no doubt. You'd have to point it in the right direction with the prompting. And that's why I said I think a reasoning model would do it better. Because the reasoning model will go back and reconsider its own thing, its own work. So there you go. At any rate, hey, just some dude. Hey, Vince, I recently had an AOS game and played FEC against Disciples of Tzeentch and lost 40-36. That sounds like a pretty close game. My question is, how would you deal with Disciples of Tzeentch worsening hits and wound rolls and or ways to beat them? Oh, yeah, sure. So, like, they were using Warp Flame, I assume, is what you're saying, right? I mean, with FEC, it's challenging because you're a big, like, kind of giant hammer army that's just trying to swamp and kill, right? And so, like, the question is really, like, what do you do under the situation of penalties? And my answer is you've got to, like, do your best to trigger healing to get rid of the burning. You've got to make sure you're fighting around the edges. Like, try to not use the fights where they know where he wants you to be. Pick around the edges instead. Go for the non-protected units and try to, like,
don't go into the castle the castle that's projecting the bubble of the minuses and all that. Like that is going to be something that you are just simply not going to be able to shift. Right. Remove everything else and then go into it.
Yeah. In other words, like, you got to rope-a-dope them a little bit, probably. Like, stay outside the kill box. Like, they have a very solid 18-inch kill box, Disciples of Zinch does. They can't really get you in any way outside of there. So, you know, I think you could probably do some decent stuff. Gareth says AI models would follow the meta as it was 6 months to a year ago. Would be perfect for Midwest events. But got him. Sorry, we're in flyover country here, Mr. Coastal Elitist. But at any rate, now I just really want to try it and see what it's going to do. But at any rate, yeah, so that would be my thing. I mean, Disciples can be tough. Like, effectively what I always try to do is weaken them where I can, poke around the edges, clean up everything else, establish board control and like sort of dominance through doing the far spread battle tactics and objective control outside their kill box. And then once all the pieces are in place and they have a bad turn on spell casting or something, as they will, like, because that's how any magic army will have some bad turn, then that's when you, like, collapse the trap and strike. So there you go. We could do a whole AI episode, Andrew. It'd be fine. That is, like, what I do for a living, just to be clear here. So, like, that's fine. But at any rate, my pick of the week. We went far afield there. Okay, my pick of the week. That's where we're at. It's going to be the Jugs podcast, who has their own big Adepticon wrap up. So Peachy and Louise and Rob. I got to spend a good amount of time with Rob and Louise at Adepticon, which was wonderful for the few days I was there. So that was very nice. I did get to see both of them. I've missed Rob a lot. I really do love Rob. I think he's, like, a really great guy, and it was very nice to see him. I didn't get to see Peachy at all, which was sad. Like, I walked by him in passing. I just didn't have time to talk to him. And he was in the middle of conversations I wasn't going to interrupt. But I think Adam got to hang out with him some. So good dude. Very nice guy. And yeah, they've just got a lot of funny stories and stuff like that. So there you go. Jim Crimmins, hey Vince, would you ever consider running the 120 Clan Rats meme list? Well, Jim, it's not 120. It's 180. Because it's 40, 40, 40, 20, 20, 20. And that's the key. That I have run the 120 Clan Rats list, and that's not enough. 120 isn't enough. You still get your units lifted and wiped because you have no screen. You need the 320s to screen for the 340s so that you can properly nail the buffs on them, right? So, like, you like, the actual minimum to run that list is 180. And yeah, I've run the 120. It didn't do well because just things are way too damaging. I lost 2 whole units of Clan Rats in one turn. Just all right. So, all right, cool. Go ahead.
This is failing, by the way, as an aside.
What's that?
I just asked it for a 5.0 LRL list.
Oh, what are you using? Are you just a standard unpaid GPT?
Like, no, I'm using a paid Chat GPT.
Okay.
But it's giving me units that don't actually exist in 4th edition AOS. So, Celestial Guardians.
You might need to say Celestial Guardians, 4th edition Age of Sigmar.
Already did. Build an Age of Sigmar 4th edition Lumineth Realmlords list that could go 5.0 in a 2-day Warhammer event.
Nice. Interesting.
It is.
That'd be fun to play with.
Aether Vanguard are the units that it's suggesting that I use.
Cool. Good unit. Hey, sounds cool. Sounds like a Lumineth thing.
Yeah, maybe it's just ahead of us. Maybe it's pulling data that we don't have access to yet. Celestial Lancers.
I wonder if you need to use actual deep research or, like, Claude, like something with reasoning to it. That's what I'm saying. I think any one shot's not going to get it correct. Anyways.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's do some hobby time, shall we? Enough about this AI nonsense. Who cares about any of that anyways? That's why we all got into this manual hobby, okay? Because this can never replace the painting experience. All right. So, Tom, what have you been hobbying on? I know what you've been hobbying on. Yes, Gareth said, Tom, you can't do the impossible. Ask it for a 3-2 LRList instead. Yeah, when you asked it for 5-0, it had to go make stuff up. Because, like, with these existing units, it doesn't exist. I gotta make some new stuff here.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Lumineth is the answer. I have been hobbying on Lumineth. I am running Cruel Boys later this month at a 2-dayer, and so like all of that's done already. And I don't see that list changing anytime soon unless some dramatic points move one way or the other for some stuff like in the summer. So it's probably going to be my competitive-ish list, and I know I just said my competitive Cruel Boys list. That I'm going to be running for the foreseeable future, and that freed me up to play with some hobby that I haven't been doing recently. You know, like so. I have a Lumineth hobby army that like I had started 3 years ago or whatever, and I'm finally getting back around to working on.
Nice, that's awesome.
Because now is when you hobby on things when they're weak.
That's
so that
right.
when they're not weak,
by the dip. Absolutely.
Yes. Right.
Absolutely.
That's when you should be working on armies, is when they're terrible. Because then they're ready when they're good.
Exciting. Here's my hobby time. Boom. Some of it. So I was working on this guy. This is we did a fun little speed paint on this dude. This is the Warwolf for the Heretic Legion in Trench Crusade. So yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of fun to like paint this guy. He's a really fun little model. Good, nice little 3D sculpt. There he is. And so wanted to do a little. So I got a little video. There'll be a video coming about him in the future. But yeah, he was a cool thing. I really liked the Werewolf. He jumped out at me, just like his big, dumb, goofy head is awesome, with his weird little snappy jaws. So I like him. I like silly post-apocalyptic things. So nonetheless, yeah, that was that. And then got that finished up and got everything recorded. And then I started up. She's kind of weird right now, but I started up the cheerleader from Miniac. So that's going to be my next project. But she's purple right now, but she won't be purple in the end. That's just her current. I literally just started her, so there you go. But that's been my hobby time. So yeah, getting a lot of stuff done. I also got a bunch of things cleaned out. Like I actually got hobby reorganization done, Tom. Got a bunch of miniatures organized, got a bunch of stuff cleaned out. There you go. So it was got an actual space on my shelf for all the terrain. Got a bunch of terrain done. So that was very good. Now I have just a ton of terrain for my table now. So feeling good about that. So yeah. All right. Well, with that out of the way. Yes, no, I understand across the pond. It's a joke. Okay. Little Stinker asked, have you gotten your hands on the Goblin Hobbies stamps? Yes, I have. I even sat down for like 10 minutes with Casey at Adepticon to do a tutorial of them, so I understood exactly how he was doing it, and I will be like doing a formal video about them at some point in the future. So yes, 100%. Yeah, so I think they're very interesting. I'm trying to figure out, like, I got to get, like, they do take practice. I'll say that right here. But they're a very, very cool idea and, like, extremely versatile. So, it's pretty neat. All right. With that, Tom, I think it's time that we talk about our main topic tonight. Are you ready to talk about Soulblight? All right. Man,
this thing's terrible. That's all I'm saying.
This book?
It doesn't. No, AI. Like it doesn't understand to put units under it, like in regiments.
Tom, stop messing with the toy. Okay? Like, you probably honestly need like an agent to go do it, to use the actual army builder, because that would restrict it accordingly. Sure. Like the proper way to do it is probably use something like Operator or something like that to go actually have it use like AOS list builder. At any rate, we are not talking about this anymore. Put the toy down. Good night. I'm sorry I ever mentioned it. Okay. All right. SPG 2025. Let's hit the summary first. We had to, of course, start with Mommy, Vampire Mommy on the cover here of this. Okay. So, here's my summary. Soulblight in the index had a lot of attrition capability, right? That was what it was. It didn't really do any damage. It was like basically an attrition army. I can be mad at him, Hades. I can. He needs to be an adult with impulse control. Okay. He's a 40-plus-year-old man. So, at any rate, Jim Kerman said, Tom, I barely understand putting units in regiments. I mean, that's fair. Yeah, totally fair. And I hate it. So maybe, again, it's just living in the future where we just get this thing done. Okay, so that has now changed. They're still an attrition army. That is true. But they also have damage. Like, real damage. Hard-hitting real damage.
But now with damage.
Which makes for an interesting play experience. So I got 2 games in against them this weekend. Okay. And won 1 and lost 1. And the one I won came down to like turn 5. Like I was behind the whole game. And I had to 10-point out both the last turns to win, which I did, and won by 1 point, to be clear. Okay.
Oof.
And that was playing like a really filthy Skaven shooting sort of army. Which I think I'm like a decent pilot at. At any rate, thematically, their abilities feel similar, but there are some important mechanical differences, which we will talk about, especially when we get to the new sepulchers, the sepsis when we get there. Okay. It's still absolutely an attrition army, and it has a very strong ability to restore your models and units in a way that's difficult to play around. Things come back, things heal, things go back into units. This just happens a lot. Okay. It is a very powerful board control army. Like crazy good board control. It is way faster than you think it is. Okay. Like so much faster than you think it is. And because of its ability to sort of bring things back and deploy, it's amazing what it can actually like do as far as, taking objectives and stuff like that, which has always been a factor, by the by. Like that's not new. Okay. Is it? That's so the big question that Martin Orlando and a bunch of people asked, right? Cameron said, just joined with no idea what we're talking about, but Tom is right. Cameron, that's bad money. You're throwing bad money after good there. Let me tell you what. It is different than the index. I think part of that is as much because so many units are gone or changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is different. I don't think it's like radically evolving the index. It feels like if we had just had these units, this could have been the index. I'll say that. Right? It doesn't contain multitudes more or like new stuff in some way. So there you go. That's my summary. Tom, you have any thoughts you want to add to that?
Yeah. I mean, I just wish that orcs would have gotten a treatment like this.
Sure. I mean, it's not bad. Don't get me wrong. In fact, there's a lot of good to love here. Like this is a very positive book as far as its capabilities go. It's going to appeal to a lot of people.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, exactly. It's like down the street from an index. It's still living in the same neighborhood. How about that? There you go.
Only time will tell whether the combination of its attrition, its strength at attrition, is too much with the damage that it has.
I think
don't know that it is. I don't know that it is.
There's some really gross things in here if they're not addressed. I'm going to talk. I don't know if you caught it. We'll talk about it. But there's some really gross stuff in here. Okay, that I think either will need to be fixed or are going to make this army like very potent. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. All right. Changelog. All changes and the changelog are courtesy of our good friend AOS Coach, who I saw at Adepticon. Link is in the description. Go sub up to AOS Coach now. He's down there. I'll drop it in right after the show. So please give him a sub and thank him
Just
next, like whatever video he has next, I just want you to go to AOS Coach channel, and whatever video was his most recent video, I just want to say, doesn't matter if it's related to Soulblight or not. Just say thanks for the changelog. Put it on anything. Pick random videos from the past and just say thanks for the changelog. I want him to get spammed by like 500 emails of people saying thanks for the changelog. I would really make my day. Okay. I guess Ben, we will see. So he did go 5-0 at Adepticon. Coach did with Sons of Batman. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So battle traits, a lot of changes there. We'll talk about that when we get deeper into it. Same with Lash of the Sire. It's different, but weird, but potentially better. Whatever. The artifacts had some minor changes. I want to get to like the unit stuff because I'm not going to cover all these. There was a minor change to Vile Transference. It doesn't really matter that much. The White King on Skeletal Steed is now the White Lord on Skeletal Steed, but he's still basically the same thing. The Necromancer's Van Hell's Dance Macabre now costs 1 command point. Okay, fine. This is something that we should... I'm not going to cover him anymore. Like, I don't have his scroll in here. That's what it is. It's what it is, except it costs a command point. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't think he's honestly super necessary.
Do you like them playing in that design space? Like,
yes.
Like costing things with more command points?
Yeah, sure.
like
it's a potential way to fix Chosen and Varangard and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is do you think like the double pile-in should be fixed using...
I'm honestly not sure it's still enough on like them. Honestly. But, you know, I mean, like, whatever. The short answer is no. I have no problem them playing in this space. Vangorian Lord had a big change. So his like Festering Feast, which we will look at his War Scroll, but his thing is now once per turn army, end of any turn. If any damage points were allocated to enemy units by this unit's attack this turn, then all monsters, him and all monsters within 12 of him heal. So
that's pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, absolutely. Sekar had a change, like, okay. It's just like basically a minor rewording of the thing. The Vampire Lord Sanguine Blur now triggers in the hero phase. That's their teleport thing. Luke of I had the change where if the target has any companion melee weapons, you have to pick one of those for her D3 attacks characteristic. Radikar and Belladama both got rid of the Virkos Bloodborne unit mentions because Virkos Bloodborne units are gone. We will talk about that in just a moment. The Kritza's Scurrying Retreat got a little worse. It's fine. The Coven Throne absorbed the Bloodseeker Palanquin's ability because the Bloodseeker Palanquin is no more. And the White King gets this new King of Shambling Bones ability, which is pretty good. It's pretty decent. Like, if you're actually trying to run a skeleton strat, it's not terrible. Because it's a pretty good way to just, like, get them crit 2 hits. Decently reliable, 66% of the time, if you want to call that reliable. So that's kind of the high-level changelog. Just very quick race through it. We will discuss many of these in detail when we get to the individual scrolls and stuff like that, and abilities. But I wanted to sum it up here at the beginning. Did anything of these, like, particularly hit you?
No, I mean, we'll talk about it more. Like, obviously, the healing is great. The bubble healing is a great upgrade. The removal of the Virkos Bloodborne units... Like, I have mixed feelings about the adjustment of what happened there, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, the short answer here, and again, we will go into the units that are cut, but the short answer here is the vast majority of Curse City, of Haunted Village is gone. That's what it comes down to. They kept a couple of pieces. So, which is fine. Like, whatever. What an absolute mess that whole thing continues to be, like, just to this day. Branu, you are correct. This crit 2 hits ability is like good with skeletons, but it doesn't do anything with Barrow Guard, as we'll talk. But it is absolutely, the White King is meant to lead regular skeletons. Like, that's very clear. All right, battle traits and rules. Okay, so
can we talk about what's up with this weird art?
What art?
That you have under battle traits and rules.
It is the art from Soulbound for the Death or for the Death Tome.
I know.
It rules. What are you talking about? Freaking rules.
Well,
all of the Soulbound
we don't often see them all together, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, I like all the Champions of books. They're really good, by the way. If you play Soulbound, you should absolutely pick up the Champions of books. I have the Champions of Death and the Champions of Destruction book. They're really good. Like playing a white legitimately rules. It feels very different than what you'd expect. It does feel like you're playing a white, so it's actually really interesting sort of play pattern there. You'd think the vampire would be the cool one, but no, the white's cool. Okay, so battle traits. All right. So we got to talk about this ancient burial sites thing, your sepulchres. We got to talk about it. So, your mausoleums. I'm going to call them that.
Yep, your terrain.
Yes. So here's how they work, and this is so goofy, and I really love it. You get 3 of them. Okay? And the way that works is in step 1, when you deploy terrain of the deployment phase abilities, you set up your 1. That goes in your area, follows the normal rules for terrain deployment, right? So, okay, fine. Then, in step 3, when you can use deployment phase abilities, that's when you can then set up the other 2. So as long as you've set up 1, then you can set up to 2 additional of them. The first one just has to be set up 3 inches from all units, objective, and other terrain features. The second one has to be set up wholly outside enemy territory, more than 3 inches from everything. So you can put basically 1 of your 3 in enemy territory. Now, this will vary a lot on certain maps, because certain maps will have like territory like this and this, where it's just the deployment zones are L's and that's the only territory. So you can have 2 in the middle or something, right? Whereas if you have a flat down the middle red to blue map, then what that means is your 2 are locked inside your half of the battlefield, wherein 1 can be in the other half, right? So, and ultimately, you are cursed with faction terrain. You are cursed with glorious faction terrain. One of the games we played, okay, like in the second game, I made so many charges into his units because I failed to charge the unit but had enough distance to charge the terrain. And then just pile onto the unit. It happened, I think, 3 times in the second game. Like, that is... It just gives you so many more... all these dumb sepulchres just give you so many more charge targets for you. Okay? To just, like, Tokyo drift into their army.
Sure.
So.
Yep.
It is what it is. All right, so anyways, you've got these 3 terrain pieces. We'll talk about what they do kind of later on, but they kind of
do we get 1 in a box, or do we get 3 in a box?
I thought you got all 3 in a box, but we don't know yet.
I thought you got all 3 in a box too. Like the art was such that it was 3 different pieces. Okay.
Yeah, but I guess we'll see. I believe it to be 3 in a box, but I haven't seen a box yet, so I don't know. You've got the Unquiet Dead, so you can put your Death Rattle and Deadwalkers in reserve and then pop them up. They have to be set up wholly within 6 inches of one of your terrain pieces, more than 9 inches from all enemy units, or wholly within 6 inches of the edge of the battlefield and more than 9 inches from all enemy units. Okay? That if you pick the edge of the battlefield, it is wholly within friendly territory. So. Okay. So yeah, that's just your little reserve ability. As usual, you can put skeletons and zombies and stuff like that in the ground. Not just that; it can also be dire wolves and barrow guard and things of that nature. But at any rate.
And when they pop up, they basically pop up either on board edge or around one of the mausoleums. Yeah,
your board edge or around one of the mausoleums. Yes.
Yeah.
Once per turn, army, any hero phase. So this does happen in both hero phases. Pick a friendly Soulblight Gravelords hero to use this ability. Then pick up to 3 friendly Death Rattle or Deadwalkers units, wholly within 12 to be the targets. If the target is damaged, heal 3. If the target is not damaged, you return a number of slain models to it with a combined health characteristic of up to 3. So the important part here is that, like, in every hero phase, from a skeleton or zombie perspective, 3 pop back. From a dire wolf or barrow guard perspective, or sorry, same with barrow guard, 3 would pop back. But from the barrow knights or direwolf thing. Up to 1 can pop back if they're not carrying damage on them, in which case you have to heal them.
Yep.
Right. So the worst case scenario is you're rolling around with a bunch of like 1 wounds on these 2 wound units, and then you just kind of heal all of them back up, and it's like yay, as opposed to getting a guy back. And then you still have your endless legions. That's right. The battle traits just keep coming. 6 distinct, interesting battle traits. I just some armies, man.
I don't get it. Like, it's just so unfair.
It's so hilarious, like how they write some armies and versus some others, right? They'll write some armies and it's like, here's your 1 battle trait. You shut up and you like it, and it's not that good. And then these people they're just like throw it more on the pile.
I'm going to qualify this because you did have a wrong statement in the show 2 weeks ago when you were reviewing the battle scroll.
Oh, what I said?
Or maybe last week.
Balloons.
You were talking about the changes to the terrain, the Cruel Boys terrain piece.
Oh,
+1
okay.
being like this universal better. It's actually not. It's half of your abilities are targeted against enemies rather than against allies.
Yeah, and you don't get to those. Yeah.
So it only works for half of your abilities, and it's not the one like the strikes last or the charge reaction.
Yeah. Somebody corrected me during the show. Somebody corrected me during the show, and I said that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, like, it's not minor. Like, it's actually pretty significant. But where before the way that it was worded, you could affect those. So, all of that to say, it's amazing how many abilities they have.
Oh, I know, it's crazy. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's insane.
I mean, given 2 of them are just like you can put some stuff in reserve, but that's still an ability. Like, that's something that most armies they just would certainly count.
Yeah. Okay. I have to check against that, and that affects my other abilities in Cruel Boys.
Right.
If I want to teleport.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Tori, welcome. Glad you're here. Yeah, sin and bin are real. Boy, I wish that wasn't true, but it is. Okay, once per battle round army, any movement phase. Pick a friendly, non-unique Death Rattle or Dead Walkers unit that started the battle with 2 or more models and that has been destroyed. Set up a replacement unit with half the number of models from the target unit, rounding up, wholly within 12 inches of a friendly Soulblight Gravelords hero, or wholly within 6 inches of your terrain piece, more than 9 inches from all enemy units. If it's your movement phase, you can set up the replacement unit more than 3 inches from all enemy units instead of more than 9. But if you set it up within 9 inches of any enemy units, it cannot use charge abilities this turn. Who cares? That's irrelevant. You will be using that ability to steal objectives, because unless somebody is standing in the dead center of the objective, you can get onto the objective with a 3-inch setup. This is the same as before, to be fair. Like, this isn't a new thing. But I find it deeply annoying that you can set up your units in both movement phases. It's really annoying. In my movement phase, suddenly units are popping up and taking objectives. But here it is. And obviously it can be 3 away in their own. So it's very, like I said, this is where the board control stuff comes from. Killing their units does not improve your position necessarily. In fact, it may hurt you if you've moved off a lot of your own objectives, because it just means on their turn they take something back easily, automatically. And then finally, you've got your Hunger, which is your vampire heal. Basically, all your vampires at the end of your turn, at the end of any turn, both turns, get healed. They heal a D3, but if they destroyed an enemy unit, they heal 2D3. Okay, fine. Cool. All right. So that's your battle traits. My God, I'm tired after reading that. All right. Next up, their battle formations. These are just really minor changes from the last stuff. Legion of Shaiish, you can pick 1 additional target when using the Deathly Invocation ability. Garbage. You almost never have 3 that are injured. Picking 4 is dumb. Bacchanal of Blood, casting rolls for friendly vampire units that are not in combat, and 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by friendly vampire units that charged. Perfectly good. Perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it. The Death Stench Drove is the dumb pile-in at the end of turn ability. They keep writing into everybody's tomes because they're out of ideas, and so just keep using the same boring ability over and over again that no one likes, and yet they keep writing it. This ability is like, if you look at this faction, like if you look at sort of sub-faction takes and stuff like the Warhammer stats or whatever, it's down at the bottom. Nobody takes these. Okay? And yet they keep printing it. It's amazing. It's amazing. So, here we go. And then, finally, a good one, even though it annoys the living heck out of me, which is the Death March one. Add 1 to the rend characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly Death Rattle units that charged in the same turns for attacks that target a unit that has fewer models than the attacking unit. Okay, this ability annoys me. I do not like that it has 2 qualifiers on it, right? Both you have to have charged and your target has to have less models. I hate that. It should be one or the other. That being said, watching this get played in both games, it actually came up quite a lot. Now, my opponent was using a Death Rattle heavy army, as I'm sure most armies will be, frankly, going forward. But nonetheless, it came up really quite often. And that extra rend was a huge deal, because a lot of the things that he was wanting to get this on were things that were charging and so on and so forth. Okay. So, there you go. Any thoughts on battle formations there, Tom?
It's fine. It's all just...
There's nothing exciting. These are all pretty boring.
Right.
You're going to either take the Bacchanal or the Death March one, right? That's it.
Right. Yep.
All right. Okay. Next. Heroic traits. Lash of the Sire. This is actually a really big change. Okay. So this is worth very much digging into. In your hero phase, you can pick another friendly Soulblight Gravelords unit within this unit's combat range to be the target. Okay. So you got to be standing next to the thing. Then you pick them. You roll a die. On a 2+, if the target is not in combat, it gets to move d6 inches, but it can't move into combat. If the target is in combat, it can make a pile-in move. So yes, it's on a 2-up. It's not completely reliable, but that's about as as reliable as things get. By the way, this should just be move a d3 inches outside of combat, not with a dice roll, or pile in if you're outside. It should just happen.
Yeah.
Again, this doesn't need to be another dice roll for like a 1 in 6 chance of failure. It's just extra rolling for no purpose. But this is a crazy ability. Okay.
Yeah.
This is really strong.
Yeah.
Like the fact that this can be used on anything. You can lash anything.
Within combat range, but yes.
Sure. You just have to be standing next to it. It is a free 2-up, you get a free run. That's what it is. Right? It is on a 2-up, grant run and charge to an adjacent unit. That's effectively what's happening. What are you messing with?
Nothing.
Okay. You're looking at something very deeply, like you're in thought. Okay. All right. I didn't know if you were still trying to build your list. Like, you really can't let this go.
No.
Yeah. This is on a 2-up. An adjacent unit gets to run and charge. That's what this is. Right?
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
But it's better than that.
Because you can do it to other people.
You can do it to other people, but also, if you have direwolves who can already run and charge.
Yep.
And can be taken in units of 20 and have 40 wounds. Okay. And you don't care if they die because you'll bring back 10 of them. Right? On the recursion.
Yep.
They're going to roll 46, assuming you land the 2-up. They're going to roll basically, or you know what I'm saying? They're going to
They're going to move, roll
and have 46 on top of their movement.
Run d6 and then charge 2d6.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can alpha bunker in the whole enemy army. Like an enemy shooting army's worst nightmare right now is a giant pack of 20 direwolves that are just sitting on the line, right? Because they will cross the entire DMZ and sink your entire army, put your entire army into combat. And like, they don't care if they die. Who cares? It's irrelevant.
Right. And if you have crappy hammers or like melee, like if you only have shooting, right? Like if you were truly a castle army with screens, like you're going to have to fight your way out of that.
If they have enemy cav,
right,
it's only good on the charge. Pin them turn 1.
Yep.
They're pinned. Right?
Yeah.
I do not know why you would take anything except Lash of the Sire. It's so good.
Yeah, it is so good. It really is. I'm surprised that it doesn't do damage.
It's very gentle Lash.
Right? Like I assumed it's do a D3 damage mortals to a unit and then it triggers the effect.
This is like a fuzzy Lash. It's soft. It's like a dog toy. Just throw it out there. Dogs run after it.
Just light bruising.
Yes, exactly. Then you got your Deathly Heirlooms. I'm not going to read the other two, by the way, because it literally doesn't matter. You're going to take Lash of the Sire. Okay, so then I'm going to read the Deathly Heirlooms. Terminus Clock is a 3-up, -1 to enemy casts within 18 inches. It's fine. Shard of Night is ignore save rolls, positive and negative, for shooting attacks. Mm-hmm. Fine. And Amulet of the Graves is probably the one you'll often take because your sepulchers are going to get destroyed because they're out in the middle of the battlefield and people will just incidentally fight them and kill them.
Yep.
But if there are fewer than 3 friendly cursed sepulchers, you can once per battle set up a backup one.
Right, that is the right answer.
Yeah, I mean the other two are so like you might as well just have the insurance policy. It's really all it is. So, like a good opponent will just never kill your sepulchers. They'll just keep using them to charge around off of. And the sepulchers do heal some, but like, okay, sure. Whatever. I just don't like putting one of my people that close, Branu. I really don't. Like, that's just so danger close. Like, you're putting them in a kill box. To get them that close where it's teleporting. I'm not sure what army I'd find that worth it against. But maybe sometimes. All right, let's talk about your not very good spells. Your spell lore. So, Vile Transference. This is your unlimited spell. It did have a minor change. You pick a visible enemy within 18 inches and make a casting roll. Roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in the unit for each 6. They take immortal damage. If any enemy models were slain, heal D3 the caster. Okay. Fine. It's a like horde weakener. That if there were hordes, this would probably be pretty scary. If those kids could read, they'd be deeply insulted. All right. Somebody asked, "Is Amulet of the Graves good design?" I don't know. I don't know. It's bad design. It doesn't have a dice roll to set it up. You just get to do it. It's an insurance policy thing.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad design.
Like I like it as redundancy without having to like force randomness.
Sure.
I wish more abilities just did the thing.
Right. It does just do the thing. Once per battle, but it does the thing.
Yeah. Yep.
The problem with Prison of Grief and Waste Away is that they're both on a 7. You don't have a ton of casting bonuses outside of being in Bacchanal or whatever. Though they are good abilities, Strike Last and -1 damage. These are extremely potent debuffs, obviously. But they are like danger close. And I don't know how many spellcasters you're going to have in that kind of range who are going to be doing this in the average build. But Colton, I think the answer would be I'd rather have actual other magic items that I wanted to decide against rather than just taking an insurance policy because it's the best option. So there you go. And they're all in a 7 too, which I hate. It's such a high cast value. Short range, high cast value. Meh is my overall statement.
You can get casting bonuses, right? Like potentially there's baked in casting bonuses.
Again, if you're in the Bacchanal, then all your vampires are +1 to cast. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's possible. I said like that's your main source of cast bonus.
It is lackluster for sure.
I don't know how many just rando vampire casters you're gonna have around. So is really my answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Because each one increases drops, which is a no-go.
Sure. Okay. The Vamp Lord teleport in the hero phase could make some of these interesting. Again, I just honestly don't see myself taking the Vamp Lord Branu. That's what it comes down to. That's really where I don't see the value. I think he's just not worth it. So, I mean, he's a wizard. He'll increase drops, Branu. Wizards don't get to be sub-commanders. Unless they take a major direction change with this book. Okay. So, then the 3 endless spells. Hand is on a 7. Unholy Reliquary is on a 6. And the bats are also on a 6. The hand is very funny. I will say, we did play with the hand.
No, it's not. It's ridiculous. Like, it looks ridiculous.
It does. It looks silly as all get out. It's so stupid. It looks like Nagash is reaching down into a mouse hole he can't see through and just being like, hey, what's going on in there? It's happening.
Yep.
Just grabbing him around. No, Vamp Lord is not a bonus hero because he's a caster.
No.
Like, again, I don't know that, but I know that.
Heroes. Yeah, spellcasters are never bonus heroes.
Right.
Like, we've never had one. Those don't exist.
Right. There are no bonus hero spellcasters. 0 in the game right now. So, there you go. Them bats are actually pretty fun. We'll talk about them. Again, I hate all of these models, but rules-wise, they're fine. We did play with these in both of our games. The hand basically never did anything, although it was funny. The bats were actually better. Okay. Warscrolls. Let's get into it, Tom. Here we go. Now we get into the meat of the thing. Okay. Warscrolls. With old Neffy here. I love this art of Neffy, by the way. This is so good. If you ever want to, like, look, like, I always look at art like this and think about painting lighting on your miniatures. Look at the light on her. See the, like, teal ghostly light up from below, and the lower, the bounce light, and then this, like, bright, cold white light above her. Man, I love this art so much. So good. Anywho, like, it's just a great piece of art. Okay. Retired units. Here we go. Okay. All of this has been retired. So, the Bloodseeker Palanquin, which isn't really a model being retired because the both other builds of it are still here, like the Coven Throne and Mortis Engine are still here. They just got rid of the weirdo middle piece that they invented a couple books ago. Okay, fine. Kato, who has been replaced with his new unit. Now it's Kato and Friends. Right? Which is a shame because Kato was like an amazing model.
That was an amazing sculpt. It was an amazing sculpt.
Right, he got demoted to just being like a really cool looking vampire lord.
Doesn't matter if it's on the wrong base size, so you have to rip him off whatever he was on to put him on a new one.
I understand. Okay.
No, I mean, it is a big deal.
Sure. The Velazda, the vampire lord on Zombie Dragon, and this I actually find troubling. I hate that we got a new version of Prince Vorderei, and just like for no reason, we don't have a generic version of him. Why?
Yeah.
This is the wrong direction. This is actually the most offensive thing to me on the list. Because I don't want to play with just your special characters. I want to make my own heroes. But as long as you're going to, I guess as long as you keep making heroic traits and artifacts completely boring, and our customization options are so limited, why not just play the special characters? Right? But like, it's just the wrong direction for all of those things. Like, I want to be able to customize and make my own vampire lord and name him and call him George. Okay. George the vampire lord. So I just think this is the wrong direction for this, and it makes me angry. They literally have the fig. You could just, like, they could just say, same sculpt, he's generic now. They could put in, like, a different head. That's it. Or something. Like a helmeted head.
I mean, they've done that many times.
Like, it's so nothing. They had to do no work. And they didn't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that I think is the worst thing on this list. The Terrorgeist is gone. Okay. He always sucked anyways, so whatever.
Yeah. I don't know what I do now with all of these Velazdas.
Sure. Yeah, you don't is the answer. Those are just like retired models.
Yeah.
Yeah. I donated some of mine to a friend recently, my SPG stuff, and but I only had one, and it was like what I often used as Prince Vorderei because it was customized and special. So there you go. The Black Knights and Graveguard are gone, but they've been replaced with the Barrow Guard and Barrow Knights, so it's not whatever. Just you can still use your existing models for them. So
I mean, I guess you could still use your Velazda, right? You just rebase it on a 160.
Yeah, he can. Yes, he would need to be rebased onto the bigger base because clearly new Vorderei's on like a 160 pipeline or whatever.
Yep.
The Kasargi Night Guard are gone, which does make me sad. I loved them. I thought they were fun. The Virkos Bloodborne are gone. Gorslav and Torgilius are gone. Good. I'm glad. They cause nothing but problems. Those two are on my most wanted lists. Let me tell you what. I hated both of them in every incarnation. They've just been problematic units since they were introduced in Curse City. I'm glad they're dead. And then Captain Halgrim and the Vargskier. The Vargskier is sad. I thought he was a cool model. Yes, the Graveguard will need rebasing as well. That's right. Yep.
Is Graveguard on 32s now? Sorry.
I think so, yeah. Again, all of this is we think, yes. I haven't seen any of this stuff yet, so I believe. Nobody has this in their hand yet. So
yeah.
Okay. But those are the retired units.
This is a weird culling.
I mean,
it makes sense. Don't get me wrong.
Sure. The Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon makes officially 0 sense. I'm gonna say that. Okay. That should still exist. The rest of this is just like, I get the whole bottom part that's just we're cutting out a bunch of Cursed City stuff that we're not inclined to make anymore. Fine. No problem with that. Okay. The Palanquin just being like an extra war scroll isn't actually losing a model. Kato getting replaced with a new unit is stupid. I don't know why we're resculpting him 3 years after we made him.
With a really nice model. Like, he was a really nice model before.
Yep. But like the Velazda is just an incorrect choice. Just incorrect.
All right. Do you think that they should, like, I think you've made it clear, but I want to put a pin on this. Do you think that it was a misstep not to, like, that it should have just been a head swap?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
With a different writer or whatever.
I don't even care if they did that. They could literally just have the same model and you say generic. Fine. I literally need nothing different. I'm saying they could have, if they feel the need, if they feel like, well, there has to be some kind of model difference. Okay, put one extra head in the box. Done. Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's crazy to me. Okay. Outside of a few special characters I have a deep and abiding love for, which aren't usually like actually the big ones. It's weird stuff like the Mask, right? Who I've played since the 90s or whatever, like the early 2000s. Like I've played with the Mask in my army almost consistently for 20 years, right? Mm-hmm. I just don't have that much love for special characters. I like generic heroes, and moreover, I like being able to build them how I want. Like that was always the fun. I built an entire FEC army because of Smash Bat, right? I built like the Smash Arch Warlock. I love stuff like that. I love throwing good money after bad, and they've taken that away from me. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's now get into the specific units that are here. All right. Big Prince V. That was my nickname in high school. 18 health and a 3-up save and a 6-up ward. Obviously.
It wasn't your nickname, but I can't say that online.
Well, you could say my other nickname, my actual nickname. The nickname that really was my nickname in high school that was so prolific was Guido, obviously. That's what everybody actually called me. To the point where, as I've said many times, that was so common. That's what my teachers called me. And like when I ran into my principal at a restaurant, like when I was in college, 3 years after I got out of high school, he literally waved his hand and called me over, and he was like, "Oh, hey Guido, how you been? What's going on? How's college?" Like that's how he addressed me. People did not use my real name for years. So
that's not the one I was talking about.
I know which one you were talking about. That one you should not say. That would be inappropriate. So at any rate, Big Prince V. Okay, so he's got his Blood Lance. It's 3 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, 2 Ren, 2 damage, which is 3 damage on the charge. And then his angry little boy, his little Draconith boy, has a bunch of attacks that hit on 4s, and so are very, very swingy. As we learned during the game, my opponent did use this model both times, and exactly what you think would happen happened. Sometimes it would go in, and he would just absolutely wreck. Okay? Mm-hmm. And sometimes he would go in and do no damage. Just like 2 damage. Done. Because that's what 4-ups to hit get you. Right?
Yep.
So, at any rate, Tom, why is this unit busted sideways? This is, unless this thing is outrageously expensive, this is the most busted unit in the book. I'm going to give you a second. I'll let you read it. Chat, do you know why? Why is this the most busted unit in the book? Play Jeopardy. Cue Jeopardy music. I would cue it if I wouldn't get immediately demonetized. Okay, I will now tell you. We have correct. Sexy is correct. There you go. That's right. The answer is Trail of Crimson. Once per turn, army, any combat phase. It is a rampage. Declare. This unit can make a pile-in move. Then pick an enemy unit in combat with it to be the target. Roll a die. On a 4-up, blah, 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 they take some mortal damage. Irrelevant.
Yep.
They either take 4, 5, or 6 mortal wounds. So, now I'm going to construct a scenario.
Pile in out of combat. He can pile in out of combat in order to do damage.
I would like to... I'd like to construct a scenario for you, Tom. You ready?
Okay.
Reluctantly crouched at the starting line, engines thumping and pumping in time. Prince Vorderai is here, and he's got his little buddy next to him with a lash the sire. 2 up, d6 inches. Boom. Let's say he's 4 inches forward. Okay? Sure. Then he runs, and he 6s that run. Okay?
Yep.
So now he whips forward another 18
10,
inches.
Yep.
He's
18.
now moved 22 inches. Okay?
Yep.
He can no longer charge, but as long as he is within 6 inches of an enemy at the end of that movement, okay.
Yep. He can still get into combat.
Correct. Yes, they could redeploy 1 unit away from you, but as long as he, don't be dumb. Like, just make sure you don't fall for that trap. And he'll just pile in, pop, pop. Okay, and then potentially do some mortal damage, and then fight. So he has run and charge, retreat and charge, and just general nonsensory, automatically built in because of this rampage. With Lash, he can cover the whole board. You cannot backboard away from this guy. If he wants to get to you, he gets to you. Period.
It's funny because this would just be fixed if it required him to be in combat.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. But it doesn't. I had to go, I reread everything just to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Is there some weird thing I'm missing here? And it's nope. Correct. And then when he fights, he's going to get another pile in. That's right. He's going to pile 3 inches. He just needs to end at 2 point, at basically at 3 inches, right? As long as he does, he can potentially do the mortal wounds, which is irrelevant. And then he can actually fight, which, by the way, he also has a spell to give himself strike first until the start of his next turn. So then he can go in again. So with those wolves I mentioned earlier who also have run and charge, you can potentially bring them in to soak up all the counter charge capability and bunker everything up while he comes in on the side and just kills whatever you want.
Yeah.
So that's why I said this thing is so fast. What you would actually do is probably lash him and just set the 6 on the run to, depending on what all works out, set the 6 on the run the dogs. Because they have built-in run and charge. They go and 20 of them just swamp everything to stop counter charges. They swamp this whole side, and then he hits the weak side. Then they can't counter-strike Vorderai back. Unless they have a ton of shooting. And he also strikes first. So ironically, both he and the wolves get to fight before you actually
And he's
attack.
18 wounds on a 3-up, 6-up.
Yes.
He's tougher than Kragnos. He better be a comparable 600 points.
Sure.
But we just don't know where he will end.
So, by the way, and yes, this is any combat phase. So he can pull this trick. He can pull these tricks off turn, too.
Yeah. Yep. So he can basically get in off turn every combat.
Right.
If he's within 6 inches of an enemy.
That's right. So he's pretty strong. Now, as I said, when I played against him, I was playing an all-shooting army, okay? So what happened is I constantly had to 3 claw steps ahead to try to to sacrifice pieces and hedge this guy out because of his big base.
Yeah.
And then just all guns go weapons free on him. And I lifted him both games, but just so. Okay, I had to turn the majority of my army on him.
Yep.
Right. Yes, he can redeploy into this ability. He can do all those things. Yeah, 100%. Yes, he can do all the nonsense. It's a crazy question. Or it's a crazy ability in what it lets him do. It's so versatile. Exactly. It's all about family.
Now that said, he does lose his damage on the charge when he does that, but still.
It's true. That's true. You got him.
Got him. Stuck at 2 damage. Yes.
Yeah, so he's really good. Again, there is a points cost where he's unappealing, obviously.
Yep.
Right. Yep. And he can also buff your Blood Knights, but I doubt you're ever going to take Blood Knights. He's probably a fine piece on his own. I don't honestly know why you'd ever take Blood Knights right now, unless their points differential is so crazy.
Did the Kosargi Knight Guard...
They went away.
Those are the big zombies, right?
Yeah, the big ogre zombies, yeah. They were the bodyguards of Radikar.
But were the Ascuran...
True Blades, they're still in here.
Are they? Okay, I didn't see their War Scroll in here.
I didn't put in every War Scroll. I only wanted to talk about some.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. But they're still here. Yeah. They're here.
Yes, they could be targeted by his ability as well. It's not just the Blood Knights.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, they are vampires. That's a good point. I definitely don't know that I'd take them, but that is true, Branu. A fair point. In the Army of Renown, you will use this ability all the time. If you like the Army of Renown for the all vampires, and it's not bad, I will say. We'll talk about it later on. It's actually pretty good Army of Renown. If you if you're going to play that army, then yes, you would use it. In the normal army, I'm not sure you'd use Blood Knights.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I said, we're going to play a game. Tom, you were gone when I said we're going to play the game, but here we go. The game we're going to play, since we don't have points, is at what point range? When do you definitely take him? When is he auto include versus when is he out? You understand what I'm saying? What's the range?
Yep.
Okay, for this guy.
If he is under 460, he's auto include. Okay. If he ranges up to 600, he's maybe include.
Okay.
I think anything over 600, and it's gonna be tough to include him because I don't think he'll ever go back his points.
Yeah, that's too many. I think I'm a little more bullish or bearish on him than you are. Sorry. Okay. I'd move that down probably. I think depending on where he goes over 500, he gets real sketch. Is my honest answer.
Yeah.
But I think anywhere in the 400s, and I'm a buyer. I think is what I would say.
So you would tighten the range.
Yes.
And say 480, you're still a buyer. But as soon as you hit 500, that's when it becomes sketch.
Probably even at 500, I would still use him occasionally. He'd show up in some lists, right? But over that, he starts getting real hard to include.
Yeah, for me, I think that number is 480 to the mid 500s.
Okay.
And then anything but I think that
his actual price value is going to be 420 or something insane.
Probably.
You know it.
No, he's going to be a 400 point model.
Yeah. It'll be nuts. Okay. So there you go.
It doesn't matter if sworded. It doesn't matter if he can bounce through screens. Screens don't exist. That's not a thing.
Yeah, there's no such thing. What screens? What game are we playing here? This is 4th edition. We don't have those. I included the Vengorian Lord in here just so we could actually talk about this guy because I think he is relevant because of the Festering Feast. I do think that's actually an interesting ability because of his big heal thing. He still has the minus rend. He is sort of your generic vampire hero now. I really hate the model. I think Lucavi looks so much better than him. I just think his head looks dumb. And he's fine. Mathematically, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with the dude. He's still just pretty fragile at 11 health on a 4-up, 6-up.
Yep. Yep.
So he better.
Would get lifted so quickly.
Yeah. He's certainly better. It's an improvement. I think some people will play with him. Again, points dependent. I would certainly hope.
Shooting just needs to look at his direction.
Sure, of course.
It will take him up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And most competitive armies have a shooting hammer, right? They have a single target removal tool out there. Many of the competitive lists have that. And he's not going to benefit from Lookout Sir. He's not going to benefit from any of those toys.
That's right.
So on 11 up, 4 up, 6 up, he is not long for this world.
If he's in the 200s, say I don't know, middle 200s ish, I think
Like
you'll see some people play around with him.
240,
260. Yep.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. But he can't be the staple, right? Like he can't be the anchor of your list.
Nope.
Right? Like even like a secondary charge anchor, because they're just going to lift him and that healing's going to go away.
Sure.
That's the problem.
Dice to shooting is the dice to removal of AOS. Boy, you weren't wrong. I mean, to be fair, you do have other, like, depending on what other units are in the army, there could be a lot of things you want to shoot at other than him. Let me just say that.
Sure.
Which is a fair response. Like, just because you die to a terror doesn't mean that I want to use my terror on that card.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Blades of the Hollow King. So this is the new Kato group.
The weird guys group.
Yeah, so they're each like it's 6 health for each of them with a 4 up, 6 up. And effectively they each have one of those profiles. Okay? Like Canastrix's fangs, that's the snaky thing that's with him. Sisendra is the assassin vampire lady, and then obviously, you know, Kato is the Echezarian greatsword or whatever. Yeah. I do like that he can still give his greatsword crit mortal. That's fun. He can just do it in the combat phase. He can depict like a defensive mode or an offensive mode. That is fun. Yeah. And you know, he can do some damage or potentially heal, potentially make a death rattle or Deadwalker's unit harder to kill because it's the -1 to be wounded, which is a good buff. It's a good buff. So that's a versatile enough spell. It's fine, right?
Do you know why I don't like this?
Sure. Because it's 3 weirdos?
No, the 3 weirdos is fine. I like 3 weirdos at 6 wounds each.
Okay.
Like I don't hate that.
Sure.
It's a move 6. You're not moving that needle at all.
Yeah, well, he lost to the whole I get to go real fast ability, right? Because that used to be the other thing you could
And
pick.
they don't really have a teleport. Right?
Yeah, well, he doesn't. Yes. He went and he lost his Vampire Lord, I know how to teleport around the board ability. Yes.
Right. And so like as much as I want to like this, I really struggle with it.
Sure. No, I get it. I think it's mostly going to be a pass. Again, like I'm sure there's some points cost where this is a pretty appealing way to get like a caster and a reasonable, you know, fighter
under
and
200.
stuff like that. Yes.
Under
correct.
200.
Yes.
If this is under 200 for 18 wounds, then maybe.
But you know, you are talking about 13 attacks with crit mortal potentially. So 5 of those being on damage 2 crit mortal, which is not nothing.
I understand. Under 200 points.
I'm with you. And it is a weird 2-cast wizard. Yes, that's correct. Okay.
Why is it a 2-cast? Oh, because it added the 1 to the power level. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because of Oriel, yes. This one. So, yes. People love snakes. Really a thing. They're deeply into the snakes. I'm glad we found the theme for Neferata stuff. She likes snakes. We got it. Okay. The Vampire Lord on Nightmare Steed. Obviously this amazing new model. So this is a Wizard 1 3-up, 6-up cavalry hero. Okay. And I think it's worth talking about because, like, first of all, it's plenty damaging itself on the charge. 5 attacks, 3 threes, 2/2, but it goes to damage 3 on the charge. Perfectly fine. Fine. Sort of offensive profile. But it's interesting because of its for glory for blood. So there's a lot of text to say the following. If this thing charges off turn, the neat part about this ability, if this thing charges off turn using like countercharge, it can pull your unit of Blood Knights with it and also countercharge and gives them a reroll on that off-turn countercharge, which is a pretty rarefied ability.
Right. It's neat because you get your reroll on the main charge and on the pull-in charge.
Yeah. So, pretty cool. That's a very unique ability. And I like interesting, unique abilities that allow you to do unexpected things. So, And then he can also like add one to the rend of Blood Knights units if they charged, which is cool.
Yeah, which is great.
Uh-huh. So, again, if this guy's like, I don't know, reasonably costed, he'll be a drop because he's a wizard.
220 is what I'm calling.
I think you're probably right, and I think that's too high. Like, that's just a lot of points for him. But I think you're probably right.
Like, I'm thinking about equivalencies like Eltharion or
Sure.
Either of the mounted, like, Lyrior or those, like, that fit in the same, like, wounds, health, ward, like, world supplementary heroes.
It is a lot of value on that. Yes, it gives you like 6 CP of value for 2. Yeah. No, absolutely. It is. I think it is legitimately using that on a counter charge does give you like 5 CP worth, or no, it is 6. Yeah, 6 CP worth of ability for 2. So that's a pretty interesting thing. Remember at the beginning of the edition when they were like, "No, you're never gonna give away free command points." It's like, okay, but you're gonna do this, aren't you? Yep. Can't help yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and adding 1 to rend at least on the charge for their weapons is not bad because they'll have bonus damage on the charge too.
It's really important actually, because
Yeah.
they'll be a little pillow fisted on the charge without it. That's the reality of the thing.
Yeah, so if you're taking knights to charge, you're taking this guy.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think if you're taking, my honest answer, we'll get to it later on, is if the Blood Knight thing appeals to you, okay, you're not going to run it in the normal army. You're just going to take the Army of Renown.
Yeah, and you're going to do Vordry and him.
Yeah. And that is just the correct build.
Yeah.
Like, if you're all in for vampires, for that kind of thing, now for glory, now for blood, if that's your call, then you're just taking the Army of Renown. Because it's good. It does what you want to do. And that's fine. So, yeah, I mean, like, again, I think he's okay in the normal army. Probably wouldn't see him much because I don't think you'll see Blood Knights much. I think he's good in the Army of Renown. Now for the biggest womp 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 in the whole book. The Revenant Draconeth. I don't know what points this guy would be, but he is terrible. He's terrible. Okay? Now.
220.
He'll be way more than that. He'll be so much more than that. He's
you asked at what point, and I'm telling you the point is 220. 220 is when he gets fielded.
Gotcha. So, what's interesting about him, okay, is that he can go into reserve, and then he can come down anywhere.
High. Okay. He flies high.
He flies high, old school fly high. And then on later turns, at the end of turns, okay, he can go be set up in reserve high above the battlefield again. Right? So he can put himself back into reserve and then come down again. Yep. Okay? In your movement phase.
And when he drops, by the way, he does shoot. Like,
sure.
That doesn't seem like a lot, but it's 5 shots with 2 damage each.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So, like, he could actually be a real threat, ironically, to, like, foot heroes.
Sure.
Because, like, he could drop, shoot, and, like, let's say this sounds terrible, but let's say you all out assault. You have a spare command point somehow, right? You're on 2s and 3s, neg 1, 2 damage each on a 5 wound hero, and then he could just jump back up into the clouds.
Well, no, because he can only jump back into the clouds if he's in combat with an enemy unit. Because the declare step is pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit to be the target.
Well, let me say it this way. You could shoot, have a chance at charging in, right?
Yeah,
you may not kill the 5 wound hero, but when you go into him and whoever's near him, you could potentially lift him and then teleport out.
Yes.
So 220 is what I'm telling you people would take him at. Because he's a glorified Ragnarok.
He is a glorified Ragnarok. He's 16 health on a 5-up, 6-up. Right?
Correct.
And all of his attacks in melee are on 4-up, so he's going to be swingy as all get out. Right? Mm-hmm. And the reality is, yes, you can protect him from stuff like shooting. As long as he's, like, in combat, you can pick him up and put him down. Right?
Yep.
And But the problem is, if you drop him 9 away and he fails the charge, he's a sitting duck because he can't go back up in the sky.
Right.
He's just stuck there, waiting to die.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the right answer here, by the way, is somebody said to 5 up, 6 up is absolutely wild for a new $200 centerpiece kit. You're not wrong, but the number of these kits that are going to sell is not real high for actual Soulblight people because they're just going to rebase their Terrorgeist and their zombie dragons onto bigger bases and call it a day. That's
the answer. Apple Juicy is no. Is there any way to get plus to charge on him? No, there is not. He's just sitting there having to roll 9s. So he's Garbo. Again, like I honestly, even at 220, which he won't be, he'll be more than that. He'll be like 280, 300. Okay.
I agree, and I'm just telling you that's the point. That's the point cost where he becomes he's equivalent.
At least worth rolling the dice on, literally, as it were.
Correct.
Yeah.
As a throwaway distraction carnifex.
Yeah.
That is the point. Is 220.
Yeah, the reality is I don't know who would build this version because everybody's just going to build Prince Vordrai. You can buy a second one just to take Vordrai and throw him in the trash. Like, yeah. No, you're right. You're just going to rebase your Terrorgeist onto a 160 and call it this guy. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
No one's actually buying this.
Yeah. I brought in the Coven Throne because I do think it's interesting that they absorb the Promising Concoction. The Coven Throne, again, points dependent, could actually be a very interesting unit. Now with its, like, combination of abilities. Okay?
Sure.
Because it's still a wizard. It's 12 health, 4 up, 6 up. So, again, not very tough. But it has a decent enough move at 10 inches, right? And it flies and all of that, as you would expect, because, ghosts. It gives your Death Rattle and Deadwalkers a 5-up ward, which is very potent. It can be a good backup to another 5-up ward we're going to talk about here in a minute. Okay?
Yeah.
And it allows for the double redeploy, and it can give up to 3 vampire units +1 attacks. So it's kind of doing a lot of different things.
I don't know, honestly, how you're getting a unit of Death Rattle or Death Walkers wholly within 6 of this thing.
You could pretty easily fit a unit of knights within 6. That's just plenty of room. It's a big base.
I understand that. But like getting them in and keeping them in with pile-ins is like doing that with 12 inches is tough. Sure. 6 is bubble wrapped. Like you have to remain bubble wrapped in order to get the save. If you go in on a charge, you'll
run out of it. Yeah. I mean, you've got to have it some way where it's floating way ahead of them and it just runs to keep up or something like that. You know what I mean? Like where it goes out in front, but it isn't like it runs ahead of them with the intention not to charge and then they charge in front of it or something. That kind of
right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think people are going to find that like 5-up ward really tough to use.
Sure. It is a very small bubble. I am not going to disagree with that. But I think it's an interesting unit. Like it can do a lot of different and interesting stuff. Again, this is one of those units that like doesn't really do any damage, but that's fine. There is a points cost where I would take these things. I would take this. Okay. It's probably like at 200 it could be interesting. Yeah, 200, 220. It could be an interesting pick to play around with. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a drop.
What it could do.
It's a drop, so it's fighting with everything else for drops.
100%. 100%.
And it's a war machine, so it dies to Burning Head.
Oh yeah, that's a concern. The statement is it's a war machine, so it's immune to all the special things in the game because nothing ever targets war machines.
That's what you think. You haven't fought Zogrox.
I've used war machines many times, and let me tell you what, it's come up once. Whereas infantry and that kind of crap comes up all the time. Mark Andre, what are you hoping that I address on the Mortarks? Because I wasn't planning on talking about any of them other than Vordrai is not really a Mortark, but what were you hoping I address with them? They didn't really change. They're still basically what they were. Okay. White King on Skeletal Steed. In the regular White King. We talked about the crit 2 hits thing, which works really for that. So the foot skeleton guy wants to lead the foot skeletons. That's just what it is. He wants to lead normal, regular foot skeletons. Okay? And he wants to fight with them and give them +1 to hit and give them crit 2 hits and stuff like that. So if you want to run a heavy skeletal strategy. He's going to be your guy. Great. All right, let's talk about the new guy, because I really like this dude, and I think you'll see him a lot. This dude, again, points dependent, is going to show up on a lot of tables. Okay.
Is there a chance that he's a bonus hero?
Yes, there is absolutely that chance. He is a non-hero, like non-monster, non-wizard, non-priest. There is a very high probability this guy becomes a bonus hero. Okay.
Go on.
So he's 8 health with a 3-up save and a 6-up ward, but that's not true. For reasons we'll talk about later on. But let's just say that's his stats for now.
Sure.
Attacky-wise, he has whatever he has. His attacks are, like, perfectly fine. He has crit mortal and, like, potentially a 3 damage attack on the charge, but he hits on 4s. But I don't actually care. He has 2 really unique abilities that I like. The first is the Barrow Curse. If an attack made with this unit's King's Relic weapon scores a critical hit, the target becomes cursed for the rest of the battle. Subtract 1 from save rolls for cursed units. An enemy unit can't become cursed more than once, but you can curse lots of different people. Fun.
Cool. That's going to be great to track.
I mean, curse. Yeah, I got it. Curse. Okay, cool. Like, it's just a token you put next to the unit. They're cursed forever because it doesn't go away. There's no way to get rid of it, so that's it. You get tagged by this guy, you're cursed. Fine. But actually what you love is his second ability. Now, you got to think ahead here a little bit, right? This is a terrible timing on this ability. I hate the timing of this because you will forget. My opponent was just kept forgetting this because it doesn't feel like the right time to use this. But at any rate, here's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Your hero phase, Immortal Conqueror. Pick an objective or terrain feature within enemy territory. Again, so battle plan dependent, right? Just has to be within, not wholly within.
Yep.
So, okay. For the rest of the turn, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by friendly death rattle units while they're wholly within 6 inches of that objective or terrain feature. This is a good ability. Because he doesn't need to be anywhere near that thing. He does.
No, and you can move it every
hero phase. Every your hero phase. That said, I'm gonna say it again. Getting 40 skeletons wholly within 6 inches of a terrain piece. Oh, you're never doing that. You're getting 10 Barrow Knights, and that's easy. It's for 10 Barrow Knights. That's it.
Okay.
For reasons we'll see in just a second. You're taking him and like 10 or 20 Barrow Knights.
Yeah.
That is the build.
Yep.
Like, coming out of this book, the first builds we will see will be people taking him and, like, 2x10 Barrow Knights at mins. That will be the first build.
Well, I'm glad that we can use old skeletal knights for old black knights for Barrow Knights.
Sure. Yeah, correct. There's no range on this ability. Like, he could technically be on the other side of the board and just call his shot, right? Just Babe Ruth over there. But, I mean, he's going to end up being near it because he wants to be near the knights for reasons we'll discuss in just a minute.
Yep.
Okay. The White Lord on Skeletal Steed is basically just, I put him in here because it's just the updated dude.
Yep.
Just that guy. And your Death Rattle Skeletons are basically, you know, they're like they were. They're your clan rats, right? They're okay.
Yep.
You know, it's fine enough. You can get a crap load of attacks out of a bunch of them, but they are still 1 health models with a 5-up save that cap at 20 models, and that is really problematic in the current edition. So there you go. I do not think you'll take the White Lord on Skeletal Steed very often. He's got the chain fight ability, but he grants no bonus on it, and just giving +1 to charge isn't a big enough bonus.
Yeah.
You're going to take the other guy. Okay.
You know what this guy is?
Guy
is? This guy is the Cruel Boys on Gnash Tooth.
Yeah.
We will see him go down 10 points every battle scroll for the next year.
Yep. So, I mean, I guess that's a good point. You might see him if there's like a real points differential between the White Lord and the White King, and to where your list, where it only actually fits with the White Lords. That is a good point, Sexy. I will say that. You're right. Because like, if you just need to get a hero in there and you just need to trigger this thing we're going to talk about, then that's fine. Okay. Because Barrow Knights. Here we go. Barrow Knights are 4 up, 6 up with 3 health and a 10-inch move. They make 2 attacks with crit mortal and charge +1 damage. So they come in. Unit of 10 of them comes in with 21 attacks on 4s and 3s. Rend 1, damage 2, crit mortal. But they also can be on 3s and 3s pretty easily without all out attack because of the Barrow with the White King's ability.
The +1,
For the +1 to hit. And then they have pony kicks, like who cares? And while any friendly Death Rattle Cavalry heroes are within this unit's combat range, both this unit and those friendly units have a ward of 5 up. As well, at the end of all turns, they just return 1 slain model to the unit.
Pretty good.
Very, very potent. That sounds like nothing. It is so good. It's crazy good.
Pretty good.
Okay. Like, these things I found, again, so both games I ran against 2 packs of 10 of these, and they were so hard to get rid of. So hard. Like, I only won the second game, Tom, because the turning point in the game was I had a Warp Lightning Cannon, and I took a miracle shot at the White King, okay, who was like, who had the -1 to hit because of Guarded Hero.
Yep.
Okay. And so I had to all-out attack my way out of it and be on 4s. He had a 5-up ward. He has 8 health. I had 13 shots. Okay? Is what I rolled out on my 2d6 + 6. The exact average number. Right?
Yep.
I wounded with 10 of them, and he only made 1 5-up save and dropped dead. That was the moment of pure stupid luck. And it was the only reason I was able to then fight my way out of this. Right? Because otherwise the 5-up ward was just killing me.
Yep.
Right? It's such a strong ability. So like I said, I could see potentially having the Coven Throne as like an interesting backup for this. Right?
Yep.
But because if that guy dies, they do die faster. Like, that is simply true.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's 30 health that does come back. Like, you get 15, you get a refund if they die.
I still think we need to live in a world where you can't reinforce Cav. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Like, barring some kind of really crazy points differential where these guys are much more expensive than you think, and Blood Knights are way cheaper than you think, I do not see any reason to take Blood Knights over these guys. These guys are so much better, just like in concept, than Blood Knights.
Yep.
It's like not even close.
Yep, and they're replaceable.
Right, they're replaceable. You're not really buying 15 for 10, but you're kind of buying 50. You're buying 10, and then the ability to just like get free points late in the game, and potentially do a gate turn 5 or turn 4 charge. Right.
Yep.
I agree. Cygnus says de-enforce Cav. Yes, there you go.
Like, I think that you would see so many things resolve themselves if you could not reinforce Cav units.
These guys are really strong. Now, you don't want them to get flat-footed. They'll fight their way out a little because of crit mortal and stuff, but obviously they would prefer not to get flat-footed. So, yeah. Then you got your regular Barrow Guard, who are also fine. They can be taken in again. They're 1 health, 4 up save, 6
depends on their points.
Yep. They're really going to depend on their points, whether or not they're takeable. Because they are that fragile 20 health max unit.
Correct. Like, 20 health max generally is trash, unless they're like 100 points for 10.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, if you can get 20 of them for 200, then I might consider running some.
Which you will not be able to do.
I understand.
There's no way.
Not with crit mortal, but yes.
Yes, and I agree. The Barrow Guard are worse because of the Necro nerf. Yes, that is correct. Because of the way Van Hels and stuff like that works now, it's not as good.
Yep.
Okay. But I mean, like, again, the real thing I'm not taking Barrow Guard is because I'm just going to take more Knights. Again, unless there's like an incredible points differential here.
Yep. Unless these are 240 for 5.
Oh, the Barrow Knights? Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yep.
Right. And they won't be.
Which,
I mean, they probably should
be. 240 for 5 is probably pointed accurately if the barrel guard are like 150 for 10.
Yeah, sure. No, I agree.
From a
Which is
point
probably
standpoint,
what
it's
we're
worth.
talking about, right?
Yeah, I
Barrel
understand.
guard are probably like 150 for 10.
Yep,
And
140.
there's no way
for
20
10.
of them is worth 300 points.
Nope. And it's less like and 5 of the Baronites are 15 wounds,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so like they should easily be 220 men's. Men should be 220 just on points.
I am completely with you,
wounds.
especially with their recursion ability, because they can also
Right.
get healed from the Deathly Invocation, right? Like that kind of stuff. Like
Yep.
you'll get back a
And
knight
they're
at the end
already
of
healing
both turns,
themselves.
and then
Yep.
when it rolls over, you're going to get another knight
Yep.
back if they're not injured.
These Baronites should be 220 men, which people would lose their mind hearing that. But I think the 220 men, more likely they should probably be 240.
Yes, Tomb King Tristan, they are crazy. The command is 1 of 5 just because that's how they constructed the models. They'll be in units of 10. Beauregard will be in units of 10. ZK. They do that. Some units are like that. Clan Rats are 1 in 10 for their champions and stuff like that, but you get 20 in the unit, or you know what I'm saying, for their standards and musicians. They're 1 in 10, but you get 20 in the thing. So.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
The spells. The spells. The very silly hand. Again, Nagash reaching around in a mouse hole.
Hidey hole.
They're in a hidey hole. Oh yeah, they have counters. They're not like Baronites. Just real quick to close off this conversation. I'm not saying they're like the best cav in the game. Of course, like Varangard are still better cav and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
But having crit mortal means they're better at fighting their way out of a lot of attrition battles than most other knights would be, because they can still do some damage even off the charge.
That's not where they're problematic. They're problematic because you're putting one model back at the end of every turn.
Correct. Well, you can very easily get in a situation where you're getting back 2 models in both turns.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. And that's without rally.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. Now to our little toy, our little wooden bone hands. Yes, exactly. The Hand of Nagash. Crit mortal with 5 attacks on 4s, 2s, rend 1, damage 2. Remember, that summons on a 7. The interesting thing about it is that if it wasn't set up this turn, in your movement phase, it can pick itself up and then appear somewhere else 9 inches away. And then you roll a die, a d3, sorry, I should say. And on a 2-up, it gets to go forward either 2 or 3 inches. So it either has a 7-inch or 6-inch charge to get into people. And when it does get into people, then it has a coin flip 50-50 shot of either making that unit's control score 1 or shutting off their ability to move, which is actually the valuable part. Like, its attacks are okay at best.
Yep. They're fine.
Okay.
It has crit mortal too, though.
It does. Yeah. Again, this thing literally never did anything the entire games.
I believe that.
But I'm sure it could do something. It just didn't do anything in our games. My solution to this endless spell was not to banish it. It was to turn the guns on the caster of this thing and eliminate them from existence. And then this took care of itself. Yeah. So sometimes the best removal is player removal, as it were. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it'd be really good at killing prospectors or like fighting around the outside, stopping people. I mean, it can just like, it's another, what it really is you're going to oftentimes get that control score of 1 can be very valuable because it means like one of your little heroes could just tow onto an objective and take it and not worry about like, any chances of them getting at you. I think it's just more of their board control, objective control strategy that SPG is very strong on, right? Yes, it can stop prospectors and stuff like that, which is very funny. It could, but this is like battle tactic interruptus the army, right? Now, who knows what that'll be in 3 months because battle tactics will probably change completely. So, and good.
Yeah.
All right.
Riddance.
Yeah. The Unholy Reliquary doesn't move. It's just like a thing that gets set up, and when it's there in the combat phase, it can either heal the target or it can add one to the attack's characteristic. So, okay, it's just a little weird buff piece. fine. Like, you set it up where you think you're going to be, and then go fight next to it. It's pretty straightforward. The funny part about the bats, so the bats are 2 pieces, okay? Like, there's 2 pieces to the bats. There's 2 little bases.
Yep.
And they have to be within 9 inches of each other and blah, blah, blah. And they each have their leeching bites. The funny part about the bats...
That means they have 20 attacks.
They do. The little bat... That's what I said. The bats are, like, shockingly good. The bats make 20 attacks, and they all their attacks have crit mortal.
Yep.
So, like, the bats are actually a wonderful little weird kind of throwaway piece that you just go, like, kill prospector units with or something like that, right? Because they're very fast, and they'll just go chase that stuff down and eliminate it. And they will just tear it up. They'll just do, like, you know, on average, they'll do, like, 3 or 4 damage to a unit of prospectors, most of it being mortals. So most of the time, that'll actually weaken that unit enough. And, you know, it's fine. If they kill your bats, oh, no.
I like their 3 endless spells. Like, I don't think any of them are bad.
I think that hand looks... I think they all look super dumb. The bats look okay.
Sure.
But I think mechanically they're actually fine. They're good. It's a good spell.
Right. Like, all 3 of them, I could see instances where I would reasonably cast them as part of my rotation.
Yeah.
Where, like, I like it. You don't have any situations, for example, again, my head's been in LRL recently.
Sure.
But, like, if I have Techless with the LRL lore, I'm never casting the Haitian stones.
Sure.
Right? Like, there's just no actual function for that.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's like there's, in this army at least, there's a purpose for everything.
So, I mean, my general feeling is it's actually a pretty good lore. I think people will often still take Morbid still. I really do. Or Primal or something like that. We continue to be in this situation where I actually think this is a really nice lore. It's really interesting. I think you'll see a standard, like, probably 40-60 split in the tournament results, people taking generic versus this one. 60 being generic, 40 being this one.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
And I agree, Holy Zest. That will be a great day when we can just relegate the generic ones to the ash bin of history. I agree. And Vorderoy does like the Reliquary a lot. Tori says, I just want the hand to trap people on holy wound traps at holy events. Yeah, 100%. Value of this spell lore at a holy event, way up. If you can turn off somebody's ability to move and just hold them next to something that's pulsing like a D6 holy wounds. Oh, so good. Unfortunately, it's hitting the hand, but who cares? It'll come back.
Totally worth it.
Okay. And then finally, the Sepulchre thing. 8 health, 4 up save. Each time a friendly Soulblight Gravelords wizard casts a summon spell from the manifestation of the Gravelore, you can measure the range and visibility from this terrain feature, which is pretty cool. So you can actually, like, pop the hand or the bats out of the thing, which is neat. Or set up your little reliquary thing if you know you're going to travel very far. So that's kind of cool. And then each time a model, friendly, or enemy is slain while it is within 9 inches of this terrain feature, heal 1. What that actually translates into, by the way, is if you're going to attack these dumb buildings, you just have to kill them in one go.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
Yes. G-Well, so one of the better released Battletomes in 4th with the super chat. Thank you, G-Well, for the super chat. Thank you to everybody who super chatted tonight. You're all awesome. Remember, that's going toward the new microphone for hobby cheating fund. Yes, that is correct. I do think this is one of the better Battletomes.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I like a lot will be dependent on points as always, but I think what's interesting is most of these scrolls have a points value I would play them at. Whether or not they point them at that on launch, TBD.
Yeah.
I really think that Draconith scroll is a complete whiff. I honestly think that it can't be pointed at any points cost where it's not a problem.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But other than that and a few other things, I think there's a lot of interesting potential here. I think that right now the Black Knights are going to overshadow things like, or the Barrow Guards are going to the Barrow Knights are going to overshadow the Barrow Guard. I just think they're patently better. Again, barring some really weird points
crazy
differential.
Points.
Yeah. And the AORs are pretty good, as we will discuss right now. Okay. What a wonderful transition. But yeah, I think overall this is one of the better tomes. It's strong. Like the Vorderized trick is crazy. The other Mortarks are fine. I think this will often be... You have so many things vying for drops, because very few of these things are going to end up being bonus heroes other than probably some of the white stuff. So you're going to be in a situation where you're really fighting with drops a lot, and we're making critical choices on like what are your two heroes. If Vordorai continues with it, like if his ability does not get FAQ'd, if he's just allowed to do that, where he has like built-in crazy shenanigans, run and charge, retreat and charge, pile nonsense, like 6-inch pile in, he has all of it, right? He has the whole shooting match with that rampage. If that doesn't change, and that guy isn't outrageously expensive, he's going to basically be auto-including everyone's forces. And unless they're running like really heavy shooting lists like I was, you will not pick him up. Okay. So there you go. Vampire Elite Infantry would rule, Ranu. I agree. Okay, the Eskurgan True Blades were clearly their take on Vampire Infantry, but they're not really Elite Infantry.
No. Now, if they were all 3 wounds each, that'd be another conversation.
Sure. All right, so 2 armies of renown. If I had asked you what they were before I flipped to this page, you would have known them, right? You would have guessed, I don't know, like a vampire one and a skeletal one.
All vampires, all skeletons.
Right. Correct. That's what they are. This your roster is Vordorai, who, if he's included, he must be the general. Doesn't have to be in there though, which is cool.
It's funny that the Eskurgan can't be in the Knights of the Crimson Keep.
Correct.
Like, it's all vampire, but no foot. Yeah, exactly, but no foot vampires.
Yeah. The Vampire Lord of Nightmare Steed, the Blood Knights, the Revenant Dracoth, and that's it, right? So no Vampire Mommy, right? None of that. Yes, no Eskurgan True Blades. Okay, so what do you get out of this? You get the Crimson Keep, and which basically lets you put your army into reserve, right?
Yep.
You get Carve a Bloody Path, which is in your charge phase. You pick a friendly Blood Knights unit that is in combat to use this ability. That unit can use a charge ability even though it's in combat, even if it has already used a charge ability this turn. This does cost a command point, but it's pretty strong. Like, you can obviously charge into something, catch it on the corner, charge again, get to what you want to get to what you want to get at, right? Or whatever. So that's cool. Like a very cool ability for a command point.
So with that, currently you can double charge in a turn.
Yes, correct. You can double charge. That's right. You can also just, like, if you're starting the turn in combat, you can just like
so you could use your vampire ability for the rerollable charge.
Yeah, the Vampire Lord on Nightmare Steed. Yeah, sure.
So could you hear me out? Could you?
You can't use the reaction twice, if that's what you're going to ask me.
No, but could you use? Because that's a reaction.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if, like, the sequencing, if on the second charge, you could trigger the rerollable charge for these guys when putting them deeper.
Well, it's a Blood Knights unit. No, I don't think so, because it's only for that charge they get to reroll. Okay. And he couldn't go with them on this charge.
Yeah. But you could put him in, have them rerollable go in, and then do this to go in deeper.
Correct. Yeah, sure. And as said, yes, they can go over infantry when they charge. Remember, they have the ability to go over the top. So,
and when they go in deeper, where is that ability? There it is. Pick a unit that charges turn wholly within. If they stay within 12, they can keep that Ren bonus too.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a good army of renown. If you like Blood Knights, this is just what you're going to play. Like, if that's your vision of the army, which I know there's a lot of people who love this, like, you will just play this army of renown. Okay?
Yeah.
It's literally just everything you want to be. Now, you can put any number of your units into the Crimson Keep, but you're not going to want to put a ton in there because you can only pull one out per turn. Right?
Yeah.
But they come out within... What's that?
No, it's once per battle.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yes.
All of them come out All of them.
All of them come out at once. Yeah, sorry. That's the other way
yeah.
I meant. Yeah, you can put as many in there. I said it the wrong way around. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can put them all in there, but they're all going to come out. The real reason you want to be careful is because you got to come out within 9 inches of the battlefield edge and 9 inches from enemy units and stuff like that. So you want to be a little careful, right, about like what all you're putting in there because you're giving up a lot of board presence. Okay. The neat part about it, by the way, is that if you then use Carve a Bloody Path in that in the third round or subsequent later rounds, you don't spend any CP for it. So if you keep a unit back for a while and pop them out, they get to use Carve a Bloody Path for the rest of the game for free. So
it's amazing.
Justin, the corpse card is what the corpse card always was. It didn't change at all. Exact same War Scroll, no difference. If I didn't talk about the War Scroll, it's exactly the same.
And it didn't get cut. Yeah.
Right. And it didn't get cut. Okay. Yeah, we talked about the Vengorian Lord Allen. They were up there. Yeah, they're still around. They're good. They have a AoE pulse heal now. So that's cool. Then you've got Blood Rampage, once per turn army, any combat phase. Pick a friendly Crimson Keep monster that is in combat and has not used any rampage abilities this turn to use this ability. Then pick an enemy unit in combat with it to beat the target. This unit can make a move of 2d6 inches. It must end that move in combat with a target unit. Then roll a dice. If the roll exceeds the target's health characteristic, one model is slain. After this ability has been resolved, this unit cannot use rampage abilities for the rest of the turn. Okay. Which realistically, your only legal targets for that are Vordry and the Revenant Dracoth. And you're not going to run the Dracoth because he is bad. Even in this army, he is bad.
But again, if he's 220, he may be cheaper than a unit of knights. And
he's not. He's not going to be that. Stop that. Get that out of your head. It's not going to happen. Yeah, Draconith versus Stegodon slap fights to the bottom. Yes, exactly. It's a cool alternate rampage because, again, it's another big movement ability. It's actually really interesting if you have Vordry because now you can choose between his crazy pile-in and the turns you need that, and when you don't, he can just as well shoot deep into the army, right? So it gives him big reposition energy. So it's good. It's actually really good. Your heroic trait is Immortal Dedication. Any combat phase, this unit receives D3 martial prowess tokens. Each martial prowess token can be spent to do one of the following: reroll a hit roll, reroll a wound roll, reroll a save roll. At the start of the next turn, remove all this unit's martial prowess tokens. A very weird ability, but really good. I mean, getting D3 save rerolls on
I'll take it.
On your Vampire Lord on Nightmare Steed is actually really good, which is probably what you're going to use it for. Your artifact is a once per battle, end of any turn, mega heal thing. Again, on your guy, it'll just set him back to full, right? That's what it is. It's just once per game, go back to full. I don't know why it just doesn't say, again, why 3d3? Why can't it just be once per battle, go to full health? On average, if he's alive, it restores him to full health. What are we doing here? Okay. We're just rolling dice for no reason now. You do actually have a full spell lore here in the Crimson Keep because you have so many vampires that are spellcasters, right? Which is funny. And your spells are...
Can we talk about how they don't get faction terrain for the Army of Renown, but they can summon it with the spell?
Yeah. I mean, the reliquary thing?
Right. They don't get it naturally. It says in the army list, they don't get faction terrain.
That's not the faction terrain. The unholy reliquary is the it's the
manifestation. It's the +1 wound. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's the one you would want.
Yeah.
But as it is right now, you can take other manifestation lores, so you could probably just take the normal one. I don't understand the way Armies of Renown works with manifestation lores. I don't know why you can choose other manifestation lores right now. It doesn't make any sense to me. So
correct.
Why would you ever take just the one when you can just take all three?
It should lock you in.
Yeah, correct. Justin, the corpse cart and the zombies are exactly the same. They did not change at all. They are literally as per the index. They're fine.
You couldn't, for clarity's sake, for the manifestation lore, you couldn't opt into the all three, could you? You could only opt into generic.
Yeah, you can opt into any of the generics. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Correct, but you couldn't just take the
No, but I'm saying, why take one when you can take the generics and give you 3 or 4?
Sure. No, I agree with
that. So I don't get it. Anyways, your spells are interesting. You've got Siphon Strength, which is D3 mortal damage and +1 to hit for the caster. Pretty good.
Yep.
You got Deathly Gale, which is add 1 to the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls, which is really, really good. Because you can throw that on your Blood Knights or on Vordrai himself, and he already moves like 1,000,000 miles, so now he can charge 3d6 as well. Why not?
Yeah.
Just truly wild stuff. Remember, he has his own strike first spell he still brings with him. That's on his scroll.
Well, just for the record, you could also slap this on your Knights.
Sure.
And they would get, and when they do their double charge, they would get 2 3d6 charges.
100% correct.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
I mean, literally just shoot one of those units.
Yeah, you're everywhere you want to be, right? At that point, you're just wherever you want to be. Like, this Blood Knight army will be just the mobility king because of all this capability.
Yep.
And then finally, you can add 1 to damage characteristic of companion melee weapons. So, okay. Cool. The one I'm not casting very often. Got it. So I'm going to cast these other 2. And then if somehow I get another spell for no reason, if I really am concerned with making Vorderai's like beast potentially do some damage, sure.
Yep.
That's a good question, Blue Thing. Has anyone actually won Age of Sigmar yet? Like, has someone guessed Sigmar's age? I'm gonna guess like 7. He's probably at least 7, right? Did I win? I don't know. Okay, we'll find out. Tune in next week. Okay. Carson, could you please briefly explain the purpose of an Army of Renown? I'm new to the game and don't quite get the idea behind it. Thanks. Yeah, Carson, I'm happy to. Armies of Renown are very cool. So Armies of Renown harken back, have a long history going back to like 6th edition, potentially before that, depending on how you sort of squint. But effectively what they are is they're armies that restrict your unit choices and into certain units, and then give you a whole new set of special abilities. So they're a different way to play the army. The key is when you're playing an Army of Renown, you don't get any of the normal stuff. Okay? So, like, they don't get the Sepulchres. They don't get any of those battle traits back in the battle trait thing. You can't pick the heroic traits, the artifacts that are on the army page. That's for the generic army. Instead, if you're playing an Army of Renown, the only things you get are on these 2 pages. Again, with a weird exception of the Manifestation Lore, which for some reason it lets you trade, and I don't know why that's allowed in the current rules. But anyways, beyond that, you're locked into these 2 pages, period, end of story. Okay? Yeah, 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy. Yes. And it's in a way where you can, like, if you want to lean into a thematic army, so, like, you're deeply about the vampires. This is a way to play the all-vampire army and have a bunch of abilities and rules that theoretically reinforce and make those vampires more powerful. So you sacrifice versatility, but you make up for it with abilities that are more suited to it and give you a more sort of an experience a little more rich in the verisimilitude of the thing you're trying to do. That's the basic idea of them. So, and sometimes they're very good at that. I think this one's a very good example of it. I think this one actually kind of rules. And I think that sometimes they're really dumb. So there you go. They're really hit or miss. So there you go. Cygnus says best edition of Warhammer Fantasy. I mean, Cygnus, you know you're right. Like 6th edition ruled. It was amazing. I'm actually pretty partial to like 5th edition myself. I liked the smaller armies, but I would drop 6th in a heartbeat. I would play some 6th. It's not bad. Like, but we got to play just Ravening Hordes. That's it. You can only use the little booklet. Okay. All right. The other one is the Barrow Legion. So skeletons. Either skeletons or vampires. The 2 forms of undead that are allowed within the Warhammer universe. As we all know. All right. So, everything gains the Barrow Legion keyword. The White King and White King on Skeletal Steed gain War Master. Isn't that funny?
It is. That's
so,
weird.
You get any Death Rattle units And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Barrow Guard, Barrow Knights, the 3 Death Rattle boys, the 3 Death Rattle heroes, that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. That's the things, okay? And you have one of my favorite wacky sort of army abilities I've ever seen them write. This is good. I just want to say out of the gate, Tom, this is the kind of thing I want to see them write more of in these Armies of Renown. I wish each book had like 6 Armies of Renown.
Sure.
Okay. This Royal Crypt ability is hilarious. Okay. So once for battle deployment phase, this ability must be used instead of the deploy faction terrain feature ability. Effect: set up 3 cursed sepulchers wholly within friendly territory, each within half an inch of the others, of any of the others, and more than 3 inches from all objectives and other terrain features. First of all, that is like legitimately going to be hard to do on some boards and on some missions where you have a tight deployment zone. If there is any terrain getting near your area, you are not going to be able to do this. Let's set that to the side for a moment, okay, and just stick with the cool part. So you have you have your barrows. You're setting up your literal barrows, right?
Yep.
After you've done so, they have been deployed, and they are considered to be a single cursed sepulcher that has a health characteristic of 24 instead of 8. Okay.
Sure.
Cygnus Maximus said, Barrow White and King gain War Master, replaced with the 6mm models. Yeah, you have to use the little War Master guys. Yeah, absolutely. They had little War Master White King guy. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's just super fun. You get your actual barrows. Grave Sentinels. The melee weapons used by friendly Barrow Legion units have anti-charge +1 rend while they're wholly within 9 inches of a friendly cursed sepulcher. I actually wish this was 12, not 9. It seems like such a minor difference, but I think play-wise it would play so much better if it was 12. But okay, fun ability. All to dust. In the 3rd and subsequent battle rounds, while a friendly cursed sepulcher is on the battlefield, subtract 1 from save rolls for enemy units. Incredibly cool ability. Great.
Oof. Yeah.
Okay. Gifts to the Petty Kingdoms. Pick up to 2 friendly non-unique Barrow Legion heroes that do not have an artifact of power. Give them 1. Side note, designer's note, we ran out of other ideas for this, so we fell back on this dumb generic thing we write into our Armies of Renown when we run out of other thoughts.
Yep.
Cool.
Disappointing.
Okay. And then Endless Legions of Bone, once per battle round army, any movement phase. Pick a friendly, non-unique Barrow Legion unit that has been destroyed. Set up a replacement unit with half the number of models. Blah, blah, blah. It's what you think it is.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. You can bring back your bony boys.
Yep.
Heroic traits. So yeah, you have like 5 artifacts because 1, this army has no spellcasters.
Sure.
A+. That's winning. Magic is dumb.
No notes.
We all know that. So A+ already. They were like, cut all that nonsense out. We don't need that. Just throw a bunch of artifacts at them. Call it a day. Great. So you got 3 heroic traits. Restless Tyrant. You get to pick a friendly Barrow Legion unit and add 2 to the move characteristic. Wonderful.
That's pretty good.
No roll of dice. Just happens. Great. Spirit Eater. If any, that heals your general D6 if you slay any models. Actually pretty easy to trigger. So not terrible. I would point out, by the by, that from Battle Round, like, I love this army for its armor eating ability, because from between the White King, who's like chomping people's armor down, and then their round 3, like, people just do not have saves against this army, which is legitimately fun. And he can actually heal himself enough with this. D6 is a big heal at the end of both turns. He just got to fight something and kill something, which if you get him in the right targets, he can do. Lord of the Arcane Aegis. Pick one of the following keywords: infantry, cavalry, monster, beast. For the rest of the battle, each time an attack targets this unit, if the attacking unit has the keyword you picked, an unmodified save roll of 4+ for that attack is always successful. This is a very, 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 very good trait. Okay? Because you have an unrendable 4-up against a lot of armies where they will rely heavily on like one unit type. It just makes you very hard to remove against that, because effectively you now have a 4-up ward, a 6-up
heavy
ward.
army?
Yeah.
You're a Cav heavy army? Noted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's not exactly 4-up ward, 6-up ward. Yes, I understand. Blah, blah. Mortals will still punch through. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Don't at me. Okay. But for anything beyond that, it is basically a 4-up ward, 6-up ward against that type. So it's pretty strong.
It's basically a time walk.
It's basically a time walk. Your artifacts are like a ward of 5-up, which is fine, kind of duplicative, as most of the time your barrow units are going to be granting that same thing, but now you don't have to stand near them, so that's cool. You've got the Crown of Cold command, and on a 3-up you get to either heal the target or bring them back. It basically gives you a mini Deathless invocation, since you don't get that thing. Yep. You get to pick one unit and do it. It's the same rule, but it's just, whatever. Yep. As far as its output, you get the Crypt Dagger, where once per battle at the end of any turn, you can just pop somebody for D6 mortals, which is very funny, although weak. And you've got the Gravesand Pendant. If this unit would be destroyed before removing it from play, roll a die. On a 3-up, this unit is not destroyed, and any remaining damage points inflicted have no effect. Then heal 1 this unit, and this unit cannot use this ability again for the rest of the battle. What I love about this, Tom, they used to write these abilities, that thing. There used to be 20 different abilities in the game that did this. And then they just stopped, and we cut them all out, and now it's back.
Yeah.
It's back.
Right.
It's fine.
It's fine.
I would certainly take that one on, like, my White King, probably. Or, like, I'd have, like, one White King that's going to have, like, the Lord of the Arcane and the 5-up ward. That way he's, like, 4-up, 5-up, and I just never have to worry about losing him. He's the actual walking around guy. And then I'd, like, my fighter guy that I actually want in combat would be this dude. Would take this thing, right? So
yeah, maybe. I like the Amulet of Nightmares.
Amulet of Nightmares is pretty strong. Once per battle, any combat phase. You get to pick a unit within 9, so you don't have to actually be in target with them. And on a 2-up, they get strike last. It's a die roll on a once per battle, which is always sketch. You are going to roll the 1 sometimes. Sure.
But a 2-up on a D6 makes it more reliable. It's not a unit in combat. It's a unit within 9. And so this guy can be deep in the line when the Varen Guard come in or whatever, right? And zot them with this in order to attempt to whittle away a model or two, right? Like, the key is that it gives you options, and actually it's just like
it's a crazy rattlesnake. Sexy Bear is exactly correct.
That's exactly the word I was going to use. It's a rattlesnake.
Yep.
Because the reality is that again, I've been running Cool Boys, and just having like strikes last on a 3-up or a 4-up.
Yeah, it'll scare people.
Makes people be like, I'm not going to go in there.
Right. I agree. Power perceived is power achieved, baby. That's the rule. And so, like, the Amulet of Nightmares is really good. So, I mean, you can have 3 artifacts in this, right? So, if you have 3 heroes. So, fine.
Yeah, it's great. I like both of them.
I agree. I think the Barrow Legion one is weaker for a bunch of obvious reasons, like not having spellcasters, not being able to play in the manifestation game and all of that, but like it's cool as.
I don't know. It really depends on how much Barrow Knights are. Because if I can get 40 Barrow Knights in there.
Sure. Yeah. No, 100% true. I'm going to guess they're about is where they probably end up about 200, which will end up too cheap, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, if they're 200, you can get that many in. Let me just say that.
I know.
So, there you go.
You have my attention.
Yeah, I like that they kept it magic free. I actually think that's really fun. It's a pretty bold choice in this current game to not even open the door to magic at all. And just be like, no, it's a magicless army.
Nobody gains Wizard 1. Like, they just don't have magic.
I will say, in certain maps, your ability to set up your 3 sepulchers will mean you can just block a huge section of the board off from your opponent, right? Depending on the map setup.
Yep.
Because 24 health that self heals is
on a 4-up.
Actually, yeah.
4-up, 6-up.
4-up, 6-up.
It has a ward save.
It does. So if you like skeletons, I think it's a perfectly good army for now. I'm not sure the normal army's not better for running skeletons. That's my only concern here. For vampires, The Army of Renown, if you're going to run a vampire heavy army, like basically you want to run all vampires.
The Army of
like
Renown is the right call.
The Army of Renown is simply better than the normal one. I'm not sure that's true for the skeleton heavy strat.
This may run into the barbarian problem of Slade's Darkness.
Yeah, but it's fun. Like, it's cool.
I agree.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, Catharsis. I guess just hope you have some places of power on your board. Go stand next to a place of power.
Wouldn't it be nice if the tombs became places of power? The barrow tombs.
That would be super cool.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's not like you're going to abuse that with spellcasting.
No, because then one of your people standing next to it would have their ability, like, from their tomb to actually, like, unbind something or banish something. Yeah. That would be cool. Yep. Good solve, Tom. That's what they should have done. I agree. That would have been the right fix. Good job.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no. Good.
GW. You get that.
This is why you're in the development game, Tom. You're good at your job. All right. Well, that's the book. There you go. There's a couple regiments there. Whatever. They're regiments renowned. They're what you think they are. I don't care. I don't really like regiments. You can see them. They're fine. I don't think people will take them. There you go. That's my bold call. Mm-hmm. One of them is just a big dumb. One of them is just the big dumb Terrorgeist thing, the Draconith. So that one super sucks.
Yep.
So there you go. Yeah, overall, I think this is one of the better books, certainly, we've gotten. It's very strong. Baronites are a menace. They're not the best cav in the game, but depending on their points, they are. Like, if they come in at something insane, like 160, oh my god. They will be out of control if they come in at something like that. Yes. If they come in at, like, 200, they'll be taking a heavy amount. Like I said, I do think these are the first armies you'll see. For sure. Will be like 20 Baronites, White King, then build from there. So. G-Well said the Sekhet Army of Renown, I think, is still usable. It's on the Warhammer site. I have no idea how the legality of that stuff works, my man. I really don't. Boy, sounds like an FAQ question to me. Like, does that stuff get invalidated? I don't know. Is it just good forever? I don't know. So, oh, cool. Tori said the old ones stay. Oh, good. If that's the rule, then great. Good. More is more. Yeah. Any final thoughts, Tom, on the Soulblight Gravelords?
No, I think it's intriguing. I think a lot of it's going to hinge on points.
Agreed. I mean, it's a good book. The bones here are good. The reason I'm excited about this book, even without the points, I mean, I know the joke, haha, the bones, right? But, like, the reason I'm excited about this book is because the vast majority of Warscrolls are usable. Like, there is a real points cost. It has a lot of capability. It is an army that will reward skill a lot in between its tricks. I think it may be a very powerful army. Like, high skill players are going to be an absolute menace with this army. Between how much damage it can do, how much recursion it has, and its absolute insane movement and board control. I guess there's not a lot of weaknesses there, right? So, there you go. So there we go. Hey, I hope y'all enjoyed this, but give it a like. You know, subscribe. Do all those things that make all those dings. If you haven't clicked a button yet, click a button. Be cooler. Don't forget to check out Snarlcast. Episode 5's out. You can go check it out right down there. It's the newest thing. Don't forget, if you want to support the show, you can use any of those affiliate links. Say you're picking up that new Monument Hobbies cool paint. Why not use the Monument link down there and save yourself some money and help out the channel? There's, of course, our Patreon down there. There's our merch store down there. There's so many things. So many things to explore. So much room for activities down in that description. Click around. See what you can find. You know, have some fun. Tom, thank you very much, brother. Appreciate it as always.
Of course.
Thank you all so much. Thank you to everybody who chatted, who's kept all the good conversation going. Thank you very much for all the super chats. It is deeply appreciated. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it. And as always, we'll see you next Wednesday.